Hey, want to play a fun game?
No.
This is Auto Collabs.
Thanks for listening to Auto Collabs.
I was going to say, what starts with the letter S and rhymes with Tella?
That was a really terrible way to start a podcast, but I think it's entertaining. So it's perfect. You know, we're not talking about Stella Artois, that classy beverage, right?
Pronounce it right,
we're
too.
talking about Stella AI, which is very, very close. Automotive AI. You know, the first introduction that I had to Stella Automotive AI was on a Clubhouse call.
Oh,
This
I was
is not
there.
a joke.
I was there.
You were there. It was unbelievable. So at that point, a gentleman named Hunter Swift is on with Stella AI, and he comes on this call and goes, so I'm not sure if I'm allowed to do this because I know it's supposed to be a pitch, but can I just like show everyone the product? And I kind of, I'm moderating the thing. I was like, sure, but it's audio only. He goes, hold please.
Hold my beer.
Like you hear this like ruffling, and all of a sudden like, bring, bring. We're like, what in the world is happening? He literally completes a servicing at some local dealership that he's called up that has Stella AI, and on the 3-minute drop, he doesn't even say a word after it, and everybody just loses their mind.
That
It
was a mic drop
unbelievable.
moment.
It was hilarious.
Wow.
So yeah, that's the introduction that you need today. Yeah, I mean, I don't know what else to say, but we're gonna hang out with Josselyn, who's the CEO and founder of Stella Automotive AI, and can't wait for you to hear the conversation that we get to have with her.
All right, Josselyn, I'm so excited to have you on the show today, primarily because we don't know each other, right? A lot of times I get to talk with, and Kyle and Michael, we have people that we know that we've spent some time with, but I'm so excited to get to know you a little bit better. I've heard from multiple people that you're like one of the coolest executives in the industry, so we'll see how you do.
All right, we'll see how I do. But I just wanted to say you interviewed one of my staff at a conference, and you guys just showed up with cameras, boom mic, boom, pow, 3
That's how we
minutes,
do it.
super exciting. Love the energy. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we took a couple people by surprise when we did
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, you just
But-
showed up with the lights, camera, action, and
You
they
know,
were all, boom. Great.
You know how it is. I feel like the star players, they perform better in that environment. Don't you think?
Yeah. But it's more fun, that's for sure.
Okay, so Stella Auto, Stella.ai is the website. But hearing waves about it, you all made an awesome impression at Asodu's pitch tank.
Yeah.
And really kind of had a mic drop moment with an AI product. And it's one of the few pitch tanks that I've been at over the last 3 or 4 months, and it really like shocked me. I was like, dang, like that was one of the best pitches I've ever heard. Did you get a chance to listen back to that? Because I know you're going to be pitching on
absolutely.
Pitch Tank.
Oh yeah, and we're armed for bear. We'll be with you in a few days on your next pitch tank. Product does change. One of the indications of AI is the product changes. So products that have AI adapt, learn, grow. So we're always excited to show the product, and it's different month to month.
Yeah, well, I guess that's just kind of indicative of the auto industry in general and what's been going on.
Oh,
Anyone
my
who
goodness.
thinks, right? Anyone who thinks that like you're gonna get to like just rest on your laurels and like get comfortable and be like, hey, this is what we built. Now we get to enjoy it. Right?
Yeah.
That just
Yeah.
kind of doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah.
Well,
No.
tell me this. Let's do just a little bit of background before we get into some of the amazing things that you are doing with the tech and how you're freeing people up. Give us just a little bit of background, because I know you didn't come from inside automotive, which is, in our opinion here at Asodu, is a major benefit, because when you come up in an industry, you're just kind of trained to grow up and look inside the box that you're raised in, right? So you don't realize other things can even happen. Just give us a little background, how you got here, why your experience is relevant to auto in this moment. Then we're going to get into Stella.
Yeah, well, I'd say we got into auto by request from auto, and we're here with a product that we surveyed and people said they wanted. So we were really excited to build it for auto. We love solving problems. And then, how did we get here? My company is coming up on 7 years old. We have over 150 employees. I have 1/3 of my staff is PhDs in AI. So it's a pretty academic and advanced technology type company. That's why we call the root technology comes from a lab. We hold over 70 patents. We are experts in a lot of things, but strangely, I have a large portion of my org board has a background in automotive. My voice team's background was building onboard speaking systems for cars in the early 2000s, and my team built the I think Toyota and BMW and Volkswagen onboard voices before they were acquired by Nuance, and then built voice for car back at Nuance. So a lot of experience and affinity for this industry.
Yeah, it's interesting how now the work you're doing is no longer inside the vehicle.
I
It is
know.
now it's
I
now
moved into
like
Google. Yeah.
the other side, right? You're
Yeah.
actually you're speaking with customers, speaking with in air quotes, right?
Yep.
Trying to free people up. Okay, so you have telepathy. Well,
Yeah.
maybe you have telepathy, but Telepathy Labs is what we're
Yeah.
talking about. We
Yeah.
didn't mention the
Yeah.
name.
Yeah.
And a lot of surveying, a lot of requests, and you realize like, hey, automotive is ripe for this technology. It's ready. And then you decide to get into automotive and like go all in. What was the primary target number one, if you could sum it up? This is
Yeah,
what we're
well,
going to
we
do.
have a parts AI. Like our product platform is called Stella. And Stella is kind of like a Watson, you know what I mean? You have IBM has Watson, and AWS has the Alexa platform. You have Cortana at Microsoft. So ours is Stella. And we're using Stella in heavy equipment to configure parts. And Stella is fully conversational in heavy equipment to talk about parts and repairs, maintenance, does parts lookups, gives people advice on what part is needed, understands configurations, and helps with configuring. So we have a
Okay,
lot
so
of
let me stop you right
laying
there. So
around. And I brought them to Auto, showed them at NADA, and the only thing people said was that thing just talked. So I'm showing them parts and they're just blown away that it's fully conversational, and 100% wanted to know if we work on phones. And it was like the pain in the area of phones was so loud that we just zeroed in and listened and found out dealers need help with their phones.
So people were so impressed. And when you say, you know, we brought it in to show automotive, and you're just saying like, hey, like we work in this major equipment and parts. This is just what it does. Let's give you an example, right? And the AI is making recommendations and pairing part numbers up and connecting all the dots behind the scenes. And everyone was so impressed, be like, can you do that same thing on the phones? Right. I just want to make sure that we're clear on that's exactly what happened.
Yeah, I was tooling and wandering around NADA in 2020 with this app, meeting a bunch of people, shaking hands, and I was chased down. And I were in nonstop meetings with everybody. I mean, I had brands asking me, I had software companies asking me, and like and then as I zeroed in on the conversational aspect of the system was more interesting than the content. And, you know, I think then we really zeroed in on there's a problem in the phones. So we built a product for automotive. Stella answers the telephone and helps book appointments, answers questions. She's building skills every day. And I would just say Stella is for dealers with telephones. She helps. You're looking at like, there's analyzing a telephone, trying to get people to move off of the telephone onto chat. But this is the first product that answers the telephone in many cases better than a human, because she gets the branding right every time. She can help people and defer some of the low-hanging fruit of repetitive questions that a computer would be suitable for.
Can you remember your first experience with like a phone voice assistant? I'm trying to remember mine right now because it's come so far. And in the very beginning, I guess it was probably, if I'm thinking about it, probably the movie theater. But that wasn't even.
I'm going to say hands down, first experience I ever had was on Star Trek. But I'm an older person. But
wait, explain that. Unpack that for a second.
Well, I mean, I think part of the purpose of our company is to do something like you see, where depending on if you're next generation or original, or even something like Iron Man, where you have, or Luke Skywalker, where you have a droid helping you. And I think that's what we set out to build. We really ignored the chatbot narrative. We never tried to build one, nor do we want to, because we don't think they're very effective. And compared to what you're seeing, what we all expect, what we all grow up knowing we're going to have, which is a true digital assistant. You have it at home. Our purpose is to bring it into your work.
So so focusing in on voice, right? Voice is fast, right? And that's the nice thing about it. It's fast. It's hands off.
Real time. Yeah, you don't care about the software. It's the same. Like today, you can say, "Hey, what movie's playing tonight?" You don't care if it went to Fandango or AMC, or I couldn't care less where it went. I just want the answer. And
no
I
doubt.
think, when your customer calls your dealership, they don't want to worry whether you're on what scheduler you're on, or whether they just want the appointment. So that, you get to just the digital assistant really takes the burden off of the staff and the customer of the technology, and just, puts it into a dialogue and then arbitrates back to the back end or the staff, as it should. So you can say, "Hey, R2, what's wrong with the hyperdrive?" But I say, "Hey, Stella, what do you got open on Friday?" Like I don't want to worry about what she had to do to answer that question.
You have obviously a deep connection to the film industry, I can see.
Yeah.
Is Star Trek your number one? You go Star Trek, Star Wars, Marvel? I don't know. That's just the references as they came in.
Of course. Yeah, of course. And I'm kind of a gamer, so I'm a technophile for sure.
You're a gamer? Okay, what are the games?
Oh, no. We're not going.
Oh, we can't go there? Come on.
My favorite game is Stella. So
right, the real world game.
It's better than any TV show or game.
So I think that let's talk about some of the kind of the pushback that people might give to AI. People might say it's slow, it's frustrating, it's annoying, depending on, and there's just such a wide variety of experiences out there, right? No, I'm sure no two, voice assistants are the same. Like I even experienced that between
let me
like
put
Alexa
it this way. I'm going to
Siri.
interrupt you and say that nobody's ever called an AI before, really. I mean, if you're talking about
Really,
what it's
that's
like
a strong
to call
statement.
American Airlines,
Mhm.
call Apple, call Ritz-Carlton, call Procter and Gamble. I mean, I don't know who you're going to call, but the thing we built for automotive is better than all of them.
Wow.
Because you're not talking to an IVR, you're talking to an AI.
So break that down for a second.
Yeah.
You're not talking to a what? An IVR?
Yeah, an interactive voice response system.
And explain the difference between the two things, an IVR and what you're doing.
Well, I think, back in the day, it was the horrifying press 1, press 2. And then it
right.
moved
So that it's just trying to identify what
it's
the
just a
category
voice.
of need
Yeah,
is.
all it
right?
can do is receive a number. And then that moved to somewhat voice, where you could say sales or service, or tell me in a few words, but really the few
Right.
words are just
I want to check my balance, right?
Yeah.
Right.
So if you have sales, service, parts, and used cars, and you go, okay, well, 1 for sales, 2 for service, 3 for used parts, and then you replace that with a language system, it just knows those 4 words. It's not very impressive,
Right.
because you go parts, and all right, you're still transferring to parts.
So you're saying that
But
Apple,
I'm talking about
Ritz-Carlton,
yeah,
they're all IVRs.
I'm talking about on a telephone that you say, "Hey, I want to come in Thursday morning and I want a loaner car," and it goes, "Okay, what year?" What year, make, and model. That's freaking smart, and you don't see that anywhere. That is what we expected, but you can't take for granted that you don't see it anywhere. And I believe this is a leading edge product market wide, not just for auto.
There's so I'm on the borderline between a Gen Xer and a millennial. I was born in 1979, right? So it's like I'm kind of straddling both worlds here, right in the middle.
Yeah.
And I do know that the millennials and Gen Z have very low tolerance for slow tech, right?
Oh.
Like I've just literally watched people be on the phone like with it would be, now I know it's an IVR, and just be like, oh, I can't do it. I can't do
So
it.
embarrassing. And on top of it, it's like as a customer, absolutely. And then, but also as an employee, they don't want to work somewhere where they look that stupid. Like,
What do you
I don't
mean?
want to, meaning, because like I have to log in and do some linear process online. So just I gotta read a script, look up a system, get an answer. It's not all there. I'm not really sure what's going
Oh,
on.
you're saying that they don't want
They
to
don't even want to
do the
work
types of
there. Not
jobs
only do they
that.
not want to buy there, they don't want to work there. And you'll
Mhm.
see it reflected in, we have dealers paying $25 an hour and struggling to get people to take the job.
Just because it feels like it's like one of those soul crushing jobs where it feels a little robotic and pointless.
Maybe.
I'm, so you're saying they don't want to do that. It's slow. And it's also, I never thought about it from the employment angle.
Yeah. I mean, it goes both sides. I mean, the real pain that we're going to help try to solve is taking some of the load off of the repetitive processes that are mundane,
Mhm.
and leaving people to solve problems, which is the best. People are good at solving problems.
Mhm.
Computers aren't. But repetitive things that can be solved would be really good for an AI. And you see them growing in the consumer side. I think there's no case where we don't find. I think 94% of the planet Earth has adopted Siri and Google, and there's just no question it's hyper functional and helpful.
Mhm.
Why? Because you use it all the time in preference to going to a website or looking something up. So I think putting that on the phones is exciting. Most of our appointments get booked in a minute and a half. We can answer in one ring. So it's like, boom, one ring, done, booked, scheduled, confirmed, done, in and out. That's what I would call a brand aligning experience. I mean, the brands are selling, the dealerships are selling top technology. You look at a car and how loaded it is, even on a
Mhm.
simple low price vehicle. You're getting
Mhm.
amazing technology, and and then you call this dealer and it's like you're calling an IVR from 1985.
Right.
So I think, we're just, I think we're helping dealers, we're helping their employees, and we're cutting costs, and we're giving and providing a better brand. Like, I think our average score on customer satisfaction on a Stella appointment is 85%. Awesome.
You're just bringing up all these memories, recent memories. And there's one dealer that I won't mention, but when I dial in, because I go there for service, it's like, it sounds something like this. Thank you for calling blankety blank blank for a world. And it's like just slow. The cadence is slow. Like I listen to podcasts on like 1.5 or 2x speed. So I'm already like, come on already, spit it
Yeah.
out. You know what
Like
I
a
mean?
nervous hysteria that it's
Yes,
taking too
yes.
long.
And then it
Yeah.
sounds like something like this. For a world-class sales experience, press 1. I'm like, it's already not, right? Like it's already not. And so for a world, and it really just drives the point home that this is slow, this is annoying, right? And then if you happen to press that prompt, you hear hold music. And so you're saying Stella fixes that,
Yeah, it
right?
fixes that. And there's no reason why you can't pick up and book an appointment in one ring. Now, for something else, you might need to hold, but at least we peeled some of the work off. I mean, these guys in the call centers are just getting shelled.
Mm-hmm.
And the other strange thing
That's a
that
great way to put it. Just getting
I
shelled.
feel bad for them. I'm like, but the other strange thing is you'd think because of COVID, the chat lines would be on fire, and they're not. The
Why not?
primary channel is still telephones.
Why do you think the chat isn't taking off? Because I try to chat whenever I can. Is it lack of availability, or is it like just behind the times and it's typically slow as well?
Most of the chatbots aren't intelligent.
So it's the same thing. Like
It's
it's
like you
just
get a
a chat
chatbot and you
version of
go,
an IVR.
oh no, I got a chatbot. I mean, your first thought is going to be, how do I get the chatbot to get me to a person?
Right,
Because
right.
the chatbots
Representative,
aren't very
whatever.
bright. And, like you go, oh, I'm interested in your vehicle, and it shows you a picture. And then the very next question, it fails. So, it's like, all right, well, I saw a car. Now, how do I, so I want to compare it or look at it or find out more about it, or it's really hard for the bots to
Mhm.
track those conversations.
In a best case scenario, somebody deploys Stella in sales and service, right? Is it both? Like when the phone comes in, or is it primarily services the primary
Right now,
deployment
we're
right now?
just handling appointment. Like, look, we're your appointment line. And,
Got you.
concurrent calls. You have like 20 concurrent calls going on, no problem, scalable, 24/7, answers the phone any time of day. And
Mhm.
then the system also takes voicemails. So, you could say during the day, I really want to talk to Paul, and Paul's busy, and Stella said, can I take a message? And then we'll email that to you. Well, that saved you some time as well. I mean, you come in Monday morning, you got 20 messages. That's
Mhm.
at least 40 minutes of noodling around listening to those
Oh, for
voicemails.
sure. For
So
sure.
our goals are time saving. I think, we'll take on more topics in the next year. We're about 120 days in market and just crushing it. And we are growing so fast.
So what's your, okay, so you're 120 days in market, primarily taking calls to make appointments.
Yeah.
You said, there's some other things over the horizon, that you'll lean into. What is your vision? Like, what is your 5-year vision for what Stella could actually do for an auto dealership? Throw the ball over the horizon for a second and just kind of give me a picture and give the audience a picture of what could be possible with this type of technology, understanding it's got to be developed, with this type of technology to deploy throughout the store.
Yeah, well, I think, the future is these digital assistants. I think you can again go back to the movies to see what it's like to have an intelligent digital assistant in your area. We do not think we'll be the only voice company. We think there'll be a lot of enablement of voice technology across softwares, and that you'll see more interaction using voice instead of keyboards and mouses. And I would expect that across the board. I think we're like, the telephone is a whole other problem set, very complex to have a conversation on a telephone with a digital assistant. So I think we'll be cutting edge on phones. I see our area is really helping on the telephone for a very long time and expanding those capabilities and helping relieve, the employee and staff of repetitive things, and helping taking the burden off the organization so they get better scores. Now, you're talking about what will be there in 5 years. True
Yeah.
digital assistant technology is coming out everywhere, but unifying it, having a single interface that you can ask a multitude of questions, regarding, is somebody working today operationally? How busy are you? What's going on right now? And for the staff members, do we have this? Don't we? And looking at inventory, looking at sales performance, looking at the success of marketing programs, looking all of that accessible on voice, all of it.
So
There's
you're
almost
saying,
nothing. Your keyboards will be gone.
so
Gone.
I'm going to give you some examples and you tell me if this is what you mean or not.
Yeah.
Show me every vehicle we have with a red interior.
Yeah. Or that's been on the
So-
lot more than 30 days. Or show me a car, this car, the last 20 times we sold it. Or how does it compare this year to a same time last year? How much, how many snowstorms did we have last year, and how did it affect sales? Like, I think that's where we're
That's
headed.
unbelievable. And how
That's
did
where
it
we're
affect
headed.
sales?
Yeah. Yeah.
That is amazing. Well, this is Auto Collabs. So we talk a lot
Sure.
about, industry partners working with one another. Is there anyone you're working with right now to kind of like figure out the better product fit, or like collaborating with other tools that dealers are already using?
No, I mean, we are a member of STAR. We are definitely a believer and proponent of open standards and data sharing. I think this industry is making some changes that are important that will make it easier to federate. We certainly aren't trying to recreate the wheel. There's some awesome vendors that are figuring out a lot about the service lane or marketing or selling cars. So yeah, I mean, I think in the long run, federating and working with partners. But right now, we are so focused on just doing our job, which is booking appointments. We're doing a great job. We are scaling, and I think we took on opcode mapping using natural language. We took on, rental cars, shuttles, and a million topics using natural language. I think that's pretty exciting. I think carrying that through into potentially booking appointments for sales, and then answering more questions about car readiness, assisting with doing a better job and leaning in on recalls and maintenance and things that the OEM are interested in. I mean, I see there's a lot of opportunity here, but we're focused on phone. What does the consumer need? What does the dealer need the consumer to get or know? And that's really where our lens is not on the data. Our lens is on the customer.
Well, I think that anyone who has their lens focused on the customer is actually going to be winning and helping anyone they're working with win as well. Josselyn, thank you so much for giving us some of your time. I know you're traveling the country and you're preaching the Stella Auto gospel all over the place. Can't wait to meet you in person sometime soon, and excited to have you all participate.
Yeah, we're really excited to be a sponsor of your conference in the fall. So we'll look forward to seeing you and the dealers there.
Cannot wait. Thanks again.
Awesome. Thank you.
I remember a couple years ago, I think it was a Google presentation where the CEO of Google demonstrated their AI being able to book an appointment, and they called a Chinese food restaurant, I think, and made a reservation, and everyone was like, oh, and I remember being such a nerd when it comes to this stuff. I just ate that up, and I'm like, won't that be cool in 700 years when somebody actually does something with it? But now here we are, and that's what's so intriguing to me. You know, in an industry where we throw around the term AI, artificial intelligence, oh, yeah, it goes into our AI and this and that. Stella's stepped up, and they're actually distributing something that is not weak AI, programmatical AI, like what we see in chatbots and things of that nature. They're actually stepping up to the plate and innovating and saying, no, here's some strong AI for you.
And what I appreciate about it is also the fact that, you know, and this is across the board with Stella, and I think we're seeing this more and more in companies that are saying, like, we have AI, that it's not a replacement, that it's supplemental to the company and to your people, and it's freeing them up to be doing the things that they can be doing, and leaving to computer technology and AI and ML, machine learning, you know, the things that it is good at, which is solving the problems of a customer needing to schedule an appointment. It can handle that level of conversation and solve enough problems, enough yes, no's, and enough movements around the way that someone's conversing with it to get to the result that really is what that customer is desiring, freeing your people up to handle the more complex ideas and the more, you know, the more like the things that are need that human touch.
I'm so excited about the future she described, where the data sources are all connected and the AI will be able to pull things from the CRM and from all the different systems and actually give you a cohesive, what was the example she said in the interview? She said something like, how many snow days did we have last year and how did it affect sales? And it will be able to spit you out that answer. The amount, I mean, I just wish someone would design something in QuickBooks that just says, can you show me a year-over-year profit and loss starting in April, right? That would just be amazing, right? So, but what she describes is like 3 levels beyond that. So it was great to just kind of hear a little bit about the future from the people who are making it. On behalf of Michael Cirillo, Kyle Mountsier, and myself, thank you for listening to Auto Collapse.
Welcome to Auto Collapse. Why are we recording?
We were all